Ah, yes. Here we are once again with another season premiere, the 19th season premiere of the High Noon Hemp Show. If you can believe that, well, you should believe it because here we are live and in the flesh. If you're watching live and it's Wednesday, of course, it means it's high noon Eastern time. You find us in many places, video on demand, and of course, live. The Hemptations Beach Facebook page, also the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and at Hemptations on Twitter. The podcast, Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show. I am Senator Jesus. He is Beach, high above the Hemptations in Sharonville, Ohio. Beach, how are things this week in the wonderful world of Hemptations? Oh, now I don't have audio on Beach. Good Lord, what is going on? Before the show, we had audio problems. I just heard Beach just before the show started. Now I cannot hear Beach at all. I'm flabbergasted, befuddled. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. Especially at this point, because I just heard Beach 5 seconds before he went on the air. When finally he switched to his iPad, he got it working. Now, I don't know. I'm going to check the show live just to make sure.
Hey.
Oh, there we go. Now I hear
Hey.
Beach.
All right, hold on.
Beach is here
Go.
now. It's been a struggle.
I don't know what's going on, but okay, there we go. Hey, all right, back to where we need to be. Welcome, everyone, to the High Noon Hemp Show, where the FDA has not evaluated the show for safety or efficacy. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We sure do appreciate it. I can't watch on the YouTube, so if you're watching on the YouTube, I don't have anything there. But here we are. We are here. We have made it to season 19 on the High Noon Hemp Show. So,
absolutely.
Welcome, everyone. Let's jump right into it with the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door, as I like to say. The first one, how about some wild hemp wraps? You need to wrap up that CBD or CBG flower. Maybe some wild hemp. They are GMO free, and they say that they have CBD, but I don't know how much CBD can really be in there. But that's what they say. So get yourself some wild hemp wraps if you're into that kind of thing. Maybe you need to wrap up some TKO Delta 8 flower. Guess what? We got that too. This stuff is super popular these days. Indica, sativa, hybrids. We got moon rocks, astro rocks, all that stuff. And so, again, the Delta 8 is still very, very popular with the over-the-counter crowd at Hemptations, no doubt about it. Maybe you want some Queen City Seltzer. Hop on in. We still got this on special. I think these 6-packs are only like $10 a piece. If you want to get it while it lasts. Unfortunately, Queen City is no longer in business.
Huh.
They were Cincinnati's premier CBD spot for a long time, and unfortunately have had some issues and hopefully we'll see him again. But if not, what a great company that was. I remember being in the room when we were discussing things with the legalization back in 2014 or so. And these guys were there, and they heeded my advice when I said, if you want to get into the Delta 9 stuff eventually when it gets legal or whatever, get into the legal industrial hemp now. And they did, and they did a really good job at it for a long time. And we're definitely going to miss them, no doubt about it. And the last one from the store is maybe you want a hemp straw to drink your Queen City Seltzer with. How about that? So we've got these hemp straws. We got, I think, 10 packs, 20 packs, and then a 100-pack. Maybe even a 5-pack. It's hard to say there what's going on. But multi-use, they're not just single-use, but they are biodegradable and compostable. So when you're done with them, you can feel good about sending them out to the landfill or into your backyard or anywhere, because they will break down and be gone quite quickly when it comes to the environment. So there you have it from the product spotlight from the store, four from the store. Now the one from my door, this is kind of interesting. These are actually carbon-filled air filters. So they are, uh, smell absorbing is really kind of what they are. The carbon absorbs the smell. Like I put one under my car seat or in a drawer of clothing or whatever it may be. I think originally I found these on eBay, and I got a couple of these. But again, they're filled with carbon, so it acts as a smell absorber, so to speak. And so there you have it. 4 from the store and 1 from my door here on the High Noon Hemp Show.
Indeed. We can still hear Beach and we can hear the audio, but now we have that crackling that seems to like come up during the show at some point for whatever reason. I'm not sure about any of these audio issues. They're very weird and random, and I'm not sure. We persevere as we always do because it's very important. The show is very important. What we do is very important, and the entertainment and the information we provide is very important. And the most important thing we do every week is talk about Beach's very extensive hemp clothing collection, and we show it to you in visual form. Because all I have to do is ask Beach one simple question, and it kicks the whole thing off when I say, "What are you wearing, Beach?"
That's right. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you'll know. It's pretty minimal today. It's a nice day out. But from head to toe there, we've got a fair hemp hat on up top. One of my favorite hats of all time. Look at my hair all bushy.
Yeah.
Got my Hemptations, Oh No Hemptations University t-shirt. Wearing a pair of Kentucky Hemp Outfitter jeans, and as you can see in my pocket there, I've got my Green Springs Technology pen, as always, with me everywhere I go. Underneath it all is a pair of Hempest briefs, and then a pair of Canaleaf Satori socks, and my Rackles. Those are my Rackle shoes. And so that's kind of one of those off-brand. These Rackle was one of the first to release a hemp shoe, and again, everything is, I believe, compostable at least. As far as these shoes will break down, when I'm done to them, more natural. We're seeing more and more independent shoe companies coming up with this idea of making these more environmentally safe shoes, which, up until now with leather and the glues and everything else that are in shoes, they're probably not the most environmentally friendly thing on the planet that we use on a regular basis and then discard when we're done. So environmentally friendly shoes are a good idea. And now you know. What are you wearing, Beach? There it is. On the High Noon Hemp Show, here every Wednesday at high noon. Thanks, everybody, for watching live, if you're watching live, and watch it later, if you're watching later somewhere. Indeed. All right, let's get on with the news. We got plenty of interesting stuff going on in the news, that's for sure. Oh, but now, this is a Christmas in June, no, Christmas in May commercial. Here's an old commercial. We'll be right back after these messages from me.
It's that time of year for shopping day and night. Temptations for the holidays will make your pipes burn bright. Make a shopping dash, come raid Temptation stash. You're sure to find great hemp gifts while saving lots of cash. So have some cheer, get in here, everyone get along. The holidays happen once a year, it's 420 all year long.
Are you having Hemptations? For 20 years. Having Hemptations for 20 years.
There you go.
There you have it. Good old holidays commercial for 20 years, as we like. Well, let's jump right into some really good news about CBD. Apparently, CBD inhibits the colorectal cancer progression by modulating the suppressive tumor microenvironment that results in preventing tumors from giving a positive response to immunotherapy. So I don't really know what all of this means all in all, but what they're saying is CBD can help with cancer. Now this is colorectal, and so and so I don't, I didn't see the whole study. It was very brief. I'll get more information on it in all honesty. But apparently what it's saying is CBD can help slow or stop the progression of growth in colon cancer. And so we're definitely going to be watching more and more of this, more and more studies being done as to the benefits that we can get out of cannabis and any of its cannabinoids. So good deal there. Another more good news as far as health-wise, if they decide to move forward with this. Now, naloxone, which is the overdose drug, can stop people from having an opiate overdose. Apparently, when you add CBD, it helps even more. So they're saying that the drug can be heightened with CBD. I don't really know, again, what that means, other than I can see how once you restart the heart, the CBD might help, keep it calm. We know that CBD helps regulate blood pressure and keep blood pressure down. And so, maybe that is in some way how it assists with the naloxone. And so, I think that, as we get more results from this study, we're probably going to see if they don't actually add. It's going to be up to the people making this, or maybe a new overdose drug, because of course we have to worry about fentanyl, and then of course the new one, which is some horse tranquilizer or something that they're starting to cut stuff with, which does not respond to the naloxone. So I think it only works in opiate-based overdoses, and so these new drugs they're coming up with to cut heroin with and whatnot may not be. And so if we can figure out some type of CBD overdose drug, that would be great. Honestly, save more lives. All in all, what we need is all drugs to be legal so that they're controlled and people can be educated and we don't have to worry about ingredients. But until then, we still have to deal with the black market. And if, hopefully CBD can help deal with those black market inconsistencies, then so be it. It should, by gosh.
Yeah.
So, the Navy Frogman, you may have heard of this watch. It's a kind of a famous watch in the watch world. This is kind of neat because I don't know if they're releasing a new version of the watch, but you can get hemp watch bands for them. So this is actually and they're called the NATO, the watch hemp band options, the NATO. And again, it's Fratello, FRATELLO shop. And I don't know if they're online or not. And again, our straps, we make a watch band. So if this, and it does look like that if this has a pin style watch band, so there's two pins on each end, the face of the watch, then you can take one of our hemp watch bands and put it in there because it just goes underneath and velcros over. Bam. So any pin style watch that has a watch band that goes on with pins on the top and the bottom of the face, we can actually use a Planet Everywhere watch band. Maybe I'll put those back on the product spotlight next week so everybody can see what I'm talking about, because that would be kind of cool. But these are different colors, hemp, that you can get for your Navy Frogman or any watch. If it is a pin style, and that's how it goes on, just goes up and underneath the pins, then easy peasy, not a problem. Get yourself one of those for any watch, more or less. I was speaking of shoes earlier. How about this new line of shoes? Well, I don't know if this is a new company or not. It's Black, BLAC, but they are using hemp in their newest line. They know they have this white version. They have an all black version. They might have one other colorway in these shoes. But again, I think touting, more on the environmental friendliness of this shoe, and using hemp as the majority of the material, I believe. And these, I am not positive. It's definitely a different kind of look for a hemp fiber. But see what you can find out. I don't know too much. I just discovered these new black shoes, and so I'll have to check more into that and see what the real deal is there, one way or another. So apparently, this sheet company called Eco Down Under, they've released the secret to their softest sheets, and that's what they call them, their softest sheets. I think I sent a picture over, but guess what? They're using hemp. You can definitely see in the natural there how hempy that looks. And so again, obviously, I believe this company is over in Australia, where they are definitely starting to embrace the food industry and the fiber industry and the construction industry in Australia. The country of Australia just legalized industrial hemp not too long ago in the entire country. And I think part of the states or the provinces or however Australia is broken down, they've been growing hemp for quite a while, as far as I know. But I believe as far as countrywide, maybe only in the last 10 years. And that's really opened up the food market. We're seeing more construction and obviously more on the fiber line of things with this Eco Down Under. The secret to their softest sheets is hemp. So good for them. And again, we are going to see more and more companies, whether they even really brag about it or talk about it, adding hemp to things like these linens and sheets and whatnot, because it will make them so much more durable, make them last so much longer. And again, antimicrobial, antibacterial, all the good antis. So it's really a clean version, a cleaner version, especially when you're comparing it to cotton or some type of synthetic fiber, which is maybe stronger than when it's synthetic, but it's not good for the planet and not safe for the planet. And we don't need it. We just don't need it. You can make it out of hemp, no doubt about it. Well, maybe you want to make yourself some lavender vanilla dream balls. Well, we got the recipe for that. We'll throw this recipe up here on the screen for a minute and let everybody get a screenshot of it if they so desire. I do believe that this is a no bake and it's vegan recipe, and so pretty simple. Once you get all your ingredients together, I think it's pretty simple to make. And I think everybody should wake up in the morning or maybe go to bed before at the end of the night. Having a lavender vanilla dream ball might help you sleep better. Even like it sounds like a good snack before bed with the hemp seeds and lavender. I don't know how lavender tastes, and I haven't made up my mind as to whether I like the smell of lavender. I feel like some lavender I do, and fake lavender I don't as much. I'm not positive yet how I really feel. But lavender as an aromatherapy is said to be very calming. And you definitely see lavender in a lot of things based on calming and things like that. So, again, how that affects the digestion, if there's really lavender in these. I didn't really look at it close enough, but I assume there is.
This is dried lavender.
Dried lavender.
Lavender.
There you have it. I don't know if I've ever seen a recipe that actually called for lavender before. So interesting indeed. I don't know. Someone should try these and let me know, or maybe I'll try them and let you know. It's hard to say,
Yeah.
one way or another. So, Governor of South Dakota's got to hate this, but apparently the complete hemp processing decoritator is complete and will be operational in the state of South Dakota. It's in Winfred, South Dakota. So if you're in that area and you're going to be growing hemp this year and you need to get it processed one way or another, get a hold of complete hemp processing. The only reason I say is because the governor of South Dakota, she is not cannabis friendly. Every time anything happens with hemp or cannabis or anything, she's ready there to veto it. And she was the one that approved this. It was like a PSA on TV that literally made hemp look like it was a drug and it was awful and we shouldn't be supporting it. And this is not good, even though hemp is legal to grow in South Dakota. It's not very positively looked at in any form, cannabis in any form, and so it's quite ironic. But it will serve its purpose. Hemp grown at those higher latitudes is where we want to grow for fiber, and so that's really where Wisconsin, the Dakotas. I do believe those are prime agricultural spots to grow for the fiber, because apparently it actually will grow a little taller at those higher latitudes, I believe. And so, when we're growing for fiber, growing for the fabric to make into the fabric, or even for construction material, the taller the plant, the better. Fiber runs from the root to the top, so that's length of fiber, making it stronger. Obviously, if you have more stalk to break up, then you have more material to build your hempcrete with. And of course, that fiber can also be used for insulation, which is really where you want to use the short fiber, I think. So any plants that are shorter, if you're growing for flower and your plant is still only maybe 6 feet tall, okay, that's still 6 feet of fiber in there that can be used for insulation, short fiber, anything that you can make short fiber out of. Padding, seat, chair padding, anything like that. The short fiber is perfect for. And so, I think that, there's two ways to growing for fiber now that we can even look at it. And one is getting fiber from short plants. So if you're growing for another reason, flower particularly, then you have a very short plant, but still full of fiber. And so there's a whole batch of byproduct that normally gets wasted. The stalk, normally at the end of the year, that stalk is just disposed of by the flower grower, and none of it is used. Whereas really they can use the root for stuff, can use the stalk, which includes the fiber and the bast or the hurd, um, the shiv, all that stuff. Actually, bast is fiber, hurd is like chip, or shiv is like chip. And so, again, 100% of that, 100% of that can be used or utilized for something. And then, like I said, if you're growing just for the fiber, then you grow that tall plant. Well, guess what? You still have that hurd, that outer part of the bark that can be broken up and used. And so, it seems so silly that anyone would just grow for the fiber and then get rid of that waste hurd, or grow for the seed. Again, in Canada, they grow for the seed, and then the whole stalk, the fiber, hurd, bast, all that, basically gets burnt at the end of the year. Now, I know that they're doing a better job of trying to find an outlet for that now, as they're being more educated, and there's more processing open up. So, if there was nowhere for the Canadians to send their stalks to have the fiber processed, or to have that hurd, that shiv processed, well, then they're going to continue to burn it. Now I think we're seeing more large scale production, manufacturing, decortators and whatnot open up. So therefore, the availability to get something done with that waste is becoming more and more easy, and we're going to see more and more of that. More people utilizing the waste part of their hemp growing in the future, because there is an outlet for all of that. There's an outlet for the entire plant, including the root, which we have seen products, body products and whatnot, made from the root. So let's use more and more. Let's do more and more. Good job, Complete Hemp Processing. Again, if you're anywhere near Winfred, South Dakota, and you need your hemp processed, now you know where to go. This is kind of fun. Not necessarily hemp, but I'm sure that this politician in Japan was in fact pro-hemp as well as pro-cannabis. But and I didn't get his name or anything, but I just wanted to bring this up because they showed the document of all of the vote getters in this election. And there was like a list of, 20, 30 people on this list. I don't know if they were all running for the same thing or how this works in Japan. But this pro-cannabis person who did not get elected got exactly 420 votes in the election. So I think that the hemp gods, so to speak, were definitely involved in this election, even though he lost by quite a bit. I think I noticed like 3,000 votes. And I guess it was a local election, 3,000 votes here. But again, when the pro-cannabis person gets exactly 420 votes, I think people should look at that as a sign as well. Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of fun. Just fun stuff in the cannabis world. Here's some non-fun, ridiculously stupid news in the hemp world. So a former New York police man, copper, says that he failed his drug test. He tested positive for D9 because of his hemp soap. Okay. Now, just for I don't want to work with the prosecution on this in any way, but I do, because he is lying. Okay, he smokes pot, and he got a failed drug test, and all of a sudden he thought, well, I'll go buy some hemp soap, and this is going to get me out of it. All right. Here's the science. Even if, let's say he went out and he bought like this 1,000 milligram bar of soap that had THC Delta 9 in it. Okay, and he washed his whole body with it every day. Well, we don't know, and I'm not positive, but I haven't seen the science yet. We know that CBD doesn't make its way into the bloodstream from topical use. So, first you have to prove scientifically that Delta 9 would get from a topical into your bloodstream. I don't believe science will show that that's the case. Okay. So that means that he would have had to have eaten his soap. And maybe he was a little confused. Maybe it was a liquid soap. Thought he was supposed to drink it. Maybe he was one of those Trump followers that just believe that, if you drink soap, you'll be disinfected. Because, yes, that's what he believed. But this is going to be an interesting, if he gets away with this in court, I guess he'll get his job back maybe. But what we're going to have is more, another, because there is one right now, the firemen somehow out on the West Coast, and this was 20 years ago at this point, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, that this fireman somehow proved in court that eating hemp is what made him fail a Delta 9 drug test, which again, science says that is 100% not true. 100% not true. Now, again, if you can prove that there's even 0.1% or 0.01% THC in the seed, then I guess you could argue that there would be THC that make you fail a test, which would still be improbable. My understanding is, and this is the science, and you can see more science to prove this, there is no THC in the seed. You have no worries of any THC Delta 9. There's no CBD. There's none of that. Okay, there's a lot of protein. You got your essential fatty acids, omega-6, omega-3. You got vitamins, minerals, magnesium, potassium. All of those things are in the hemp seed. But what we have not seen, or what science has told us in the past, until this science is corrected, is that none of the cannabinoids are actually in the seed. Maybe on the surface of the seed, so the seeds may need to be cleaned really well to stop that, which they are as far as food product goes. So even if there was THC, which when you grow for hemp and grain, obviously you have that limit of 0.3% in that flower anyway, which is so low that even if the seeds were covered in that 0.3% THC, CBD, whatever, you would still have to consume thousands of pounds of hemp seed before you would even come close to having enough THC in your system to fail a drug test. And again, and I believe that most seed companies use a vigorous shaking is what they do. So they vibrate the seeds at a very high rate for a brief amount of time, and that actually gets rid of all the surface, so bugs that may have come in from the field, anything, air, I don't know about air pollution, but anything that may be on that seed that it picked up in the field that's on the surface is basically shaken off. And so all you have is that outer shell, which is very high in fiber, and the hull, the inside, which is where that protein and vitamins and minerals and omega-6, omega-3, essential fatty acids, all that is. And so, I as much as, and again, I would only assume that I want to know the soap company that made his soap. And then what I want to know is, are they going to do a study to find out whether there's actually any THC in their soap and then sue him for defamation? Because, in my opinion, if he wins, then that could hurt the soap company costs them money, and that is defamation. But if they can prove that there's no THC in the soap, then they could sue him for defamation, regardless of him winning his case or not. Obviously, if he's found not guilty, they can't try him again. Or I don't know if he's like suing to get his job back. I really don't know. You know where he is in this process of saying this and doing this, but obviously he lost his job because of Delta 9, and then he had to come up with an excuse as to how that Delta 9 got into his system that people may or may not believe. Okay, he probably at first wanted to use the hemp food argument, but then probably found out that he wasn't supposed to be eating any hemp food anyway. It's probably against the police's, because in the military you can't have any hemp products, no shampoo. You wouldn't even be able to have a bar of soap to claim that that's where the THC came from if you were in the military, because you are not legally allowed to be in possession of any cannabis, period, whether it's industrial hemp, Delta 9, whatever, if you're in the military. That is the military's principle. Ironically, the military is developing like hemp fiber ghillie suits. So all of a sudden they're going to tell their military guys, well, you can't wear hemp clothing. They can't. You can't own hemp clothing if you're in the military. That's literally the rules. But here's a ghillie suit to keep you safe in the jungle. Made out of hemp because it's antibacterial, antimicrobial. It's a great thing to be in as far as clothing goes. Uniforms, parachutes, all of those things used to be made out of hemp before we made hemp illegal in the United States. And I do believe that the farmers that were allowed to grow hemp in Wisconsin up until, I believe, the late 60s, they were allowed to do that, and I have to do more research. This is my opinion. They were allowed to do that because they were growing hemp for the military, and the military knew that they still needed to be supplied with this hemp cordage or whatever it may be. So, that was from 1937, in that brief amount of time during the war when we had the Hemp for Victory. There was 2 or 3 years in the war where we grew for hemp. But there was still, after the war ended and the hemp went back to being illegal for farmers to grow, there was still a farm in Wisconsin that was allowed to grow industrial hemp in the United States up through the 60s. And I believe that they probably, again, had military contracts to grow this hemp. And therefore, by law, had to grow it. And was exempt somehow, which no one knew about. Somehow they, again, growing just for fiber. None of the rest of the farmers in the United States were allowed to do that, or in most of the world, for that matter, at the time. And so, crazy set of circumstances. Now we're, as cannabis is still looked as criminalized, we're at least starting to grow here in the United States again, and we're going to see huge booms in the fiber and the food products as the CBD is leveled off and is now on the way back down from its boom. Speaking of hemp seed, here is a little chart that can give you an idea of how much protein is in hemp seed compared to some of the others. What I really think is interesting about this is, okay, the sunflower, 29 grams per cup. That looks like a lot compared to 9.4. But that 9.4 of hemp is only 3 tablespoons.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think a tablespoon is only like 1/10 of an ounce or something weird. I almost have to do I went and looked to see. And this chart is, I would like to see now, I guess if we were to do the math, if we have even 9 grams in a tablespoon. No, wait a minute. Yeah. Oh, wait, we can't do that. So, what we need to do, okay, so a tablespoon is 0.06 of a cup. Okay. And so that's less than 1% of a cup. So if we had a whole cup of, okay, so 3 tablespoons would be basically point two. So multiply that by 5. So roughly, if I'm doing this math correctly, you end up with about 45 to 50 grams of protein per cup of hemp seed, which again blows away, almost doubles what's in sunflower.
Yeah.
You have almost as much hemp in as pumpkin seeds. In 3 tablespoons of hemp, you have almost as much protein as a whole cup of pumpkin seeds. Okay. Now, if we do an ounce, tablespoon to ounce, it's about half. Okay, so it's half. So a tablespoon. So 1.5 would be. So it still blows away. A tablespoon is a half an ounce, basically. That can't be right, but maybe. I don't know how they would do that because it would be by weight anyway. And so basically, when you do the math, hemp seed blows away these other options for protein, even though again it's kind of confusing, and they should have clearly done it either all by per cup or all by 3 tablespoons. It's because it's confusing, but obviously when you do the math, there is so much more protein in all of these, comparatively speaking, and so more proof that obviously if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you should be adding hemp seed to your diet almost immediately. I say immediately. Run out now to your grocery store, and it's on the shelves of your grocery store. Hemp oil jars out there, hemp seed is out there. It's not cheap right now because we have supply issues and we have inflation issues and all these other things. And we're still the hemp food industries has years. It may be 2030 before the hemp food industry is really on and even close to even keel with all the other foods as far as growing, farming, producing, manufacturing, products being made with, and whatnot. And so we have a huge amount to grow when it comes to hemp food, and we should. It's the right thing to do for humanity. That's why hemp for food is the number one reason that I've always said that we should grow. Well, when hemp food became popular after, fiber was the real original reason. But now, the last 20 years or so, that's all it says. Hemp food is the real number one reason that we should grow hemp, because that's a humanity thing, not just the saving the planet thing, but it's saving humanity. It's providing a healthy farm food. We're talking heart healthy, gut healthy, skin healthy, hair healthy, everything healthy food that can be mass produced, mass grown, and doesn't need any genetic engineering, doesn't need any. I mean, we've been genetically modifying it because we have genetically modified through breeding hemp, so that this hemp is better for fiber. This hemp is better for grain. This hemp is better for CBD. This hemp is better for, and so we have been genetically modifying through breeding, which is the way we should do it, for centuries, thousands of years. I mean, hemp food was a thing in China and in India 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago, documented history of eating hemp. So, Until the world is growing, and really what we need to do is slowly start, you know, as much as I don't like attacking anyone particular, but if we need to get rid of soy, just stop believing that soy is the solution to a food protein issue. And uh, we can crush all just everywhere the soy is grown. We should grow hemp eventually. That should be the goal. Just like everywhere the cotton is grown, we should grow hemp. That should be the goal. And then we're getting rid of cotton, the largest user of pesticides and herbicides of any agricultural crop on the planet, or B, a farming product that is controlled, both the seed and the chemicals that go on it. 90% of that is controlled by one singular company.
Yep.
That's just not right to begin with. That's called a monopoly, not even to be legal in the United States. And of course, they'll tell you, well, you can grow any other soy that you can find seeds for, which is pretty rare. But 10% of the soy out there is still organic or natural or not controlled by that one organization that has been doing so for roughly 40 years or now, 40 years or so. Ironically, they came up with the chemicals to be sprayed on the soy first, and then they came up with their chemical ready seed. And then they've sucked you in as a farmer 100%. You have no choice. And obviously, it's a huge rotation crop. You have to rotate, so you can't grow corn every year. Not that corn is much better, because nutritionally speaking, corn has no human value whatsoever. Yet it makes up 40% of the products in the grocery store. From corn syrup to this or that, we have a huge amount of corn on the shelves that we don't need. It's just terrible. It's more of a filler product than ever it was for any nutritional value, because the human body does not digest corn. And that's a scientific fact as well. Hey, this is kind of fun. This is the Bushcraft Survival Ferro Rod Fire Starter. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, there it is. Bushcraft Survival Ferro Rod Fire Starter. And that's hemp there that you light. So that's waxed hemp. And of course, waxed hemp is a very good wick system. And supposedly, you can either light that whole thing, or you can actually unweave it and then have just strands of single hemp to be used as like hemp wick. But that hemp oil and that wax is highly flammable. So the seed oil is highly flammable. It has a very high flash point, which is why you can't really fry it. About the only thing you can't do with hemp seed oil is fry with it, fry foods, because of its flash point and in high heat. But again, as I've said 100 times before, that's also why it makes for a great fuel. And so that's why you can put hemp seed in a diesel engine and run it, right now with very little changing, because hemp seed oil has a very high flash point and is very combustible. And so, the rumor was that that's the oil that Abraham Lincoln read to in Kentucky in his oil burning lamps was hemp seed oil. So, and I have put hemp seed in an oil burning lamp and lit it up, and bim bam boom. Yes, sir, it works. It's true. It's not a lie. Hemp is highly explosive. Hemp oil. I wonder if they have to, like when they're transporting big gallons of hemp oil, if they actually put on there, if there's signs on the side of their trucks say explosive. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if just a spark would set it off or not, though. That's an interesting experiment as to seeing if just a spark would ignite it. I would think possibly. It shouldn't maybe take much because, again, it is highly combustible. Um, and so, yet another reason why it can be highly beneficial to the humans, as you know, probably better for an ethanol fuel than corn. Um, even though they've been touting ethanol made from corn for a while. One reason is because we have so much corn on the planet, and I would have to say that corn oil is probably better for a car engine than it is for a human body. And it's probably better for the environment than petrochemically based fuels. I don't know positively, but I would think so. So, in our race to replace oil, we're trying to come up with these naturals as opposed to a substitute, which I think and we're trying to skip right over all of that with the electric vehicles, which I think we're going to do successfully in the next 10 to 15 years. Um, they can still use that oil that they have, and it's a big part of their market to burn to make the electricity, which obviously we need to be making electricity with more natural wind and solar to make the electricity to power the vehicles and the things so we can get rid of combustible engine, period. Or make that 100% so the fumes coming out and all the things made is safe for the environment, safe for humans to breathe, yada, yada, yada. Because once again, the goal is clean air, clean water, clean soil. And we're all so much healthier. As quickly as we can, as we ask, why is cancer such a problem in this world? We'd probably be asking, where did cancer go? Now that we have all these, now that we're breathing clean air, now that we're drinking clean water, now that we're growing food in clean soil. Just my opinion. I don't have any scientific fact to back any of that up, but I do believe that if I did, it would be true. Because it only makes sense. It only makes sense. Sanuk, big shoe company, been making hemp slip-ons for a while now. They're going to release a Grateful Dead line. So all you deadheads out there, me excluded, I know it's usually assumed that I am a deadhead, but I am not. I grew up in a Beatles household because of my brother, not because of my parents. I think these will be super popular because most Dead stuff is super popular. And again, Sanuk has been using hemp in a line of their slip-ons and whatnot. I have a pair of like half sandals, so just the front of Sanuks, I believe, that are hemp. I had a pair, and I think they're on the boat because I love wearing them of slip-ons. I'll have to find those and break them out because I haven't seen them for a while. So I'll have to wear my hemp slip-ons, Canucks. But Sanuk, I'm sorry, not Canuck. That's a Canadian. I don't know if that's a slur for a Canadian, calling them a Canuck, or if they're okay with being Canucks. So, we don't know. We don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm going to run out of battery. So, the Czech Republic, if you live in the Czech Republic and you use CBD, you better check on it because it looks like the Czech Republic is going to make CBD products illegal in the whole entire country. Geez, Czech Republic. Going backwards there. France says that all CBD products are legal 100%, and all of a sudden the Czech Republic's saying no. So I'm not sure what that's about, but we'll kind of follow that a little more as we go on. See what really happens there, because I think they're just talking about it, and maybe they'll get some backlash after they do. Nike. How about this? Releasing this purple and green version of the Air in hemp. Um, this might be one I might have to find. Although I'm going to guess this is going to be one of those limited edition ones
Mhm.
where I'm going to wait in line online only to find out I still didn't get to buy a pair. But as some of you may or may not know, purple and green are the store colors. So anything purple and green uh, definitely catches my eye. The fact that Nike, maybe we call this the Hemptations uh, Hemp Air,
There you go.
being purple and green. And so I don't know how Nike would feel about that, but I'm okay with it. If they, I would even let them use the word name Hemptations if they wanted to officially call these the Hemptations Nike Airs. But purple and green on the scene since 1995. That we have. All right, there you have it, folks. That's all the news fit to print. Not much really going on as far as events. Now, 6/6. So this is in June. This will be June 6th is the medical marijuana meetup. And again, I will be at this one because I should be in town. But I go to support industrial hemp and do my thing and answer questions and have conversations about all things industrial hemp. And there's usually a good crowd and people that are very interested in the subject. So if you can make that in Cincinnati, that's at the Mad Tree Brewery. I'll mention it again before it happens. That's 6/6. And then at the end of June, 6/28, 6/29, is the Ohio and Kentucky Hemp Expo at the Duke Energy Convention Center. So if you're coming into town for that, check out some Hemptations. I did actually get a question this week from a colleague of mine. They were wanting to know if THCA is legal in the state of Ohio. Well, THCA is the new code term for Delta 9, okay? And so if you see Delta 9 or THCA, that's the same thing. Both are, my answer to him was, yes, 100% legal as long as it's extracted from industrial hemp. So once again, you still have to look at that source law that we have. If it comes from industrial hemp, it's legal. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If we could make cocaine from industrial hemp, it would be legal.
Mhm.
Okay, so anything that we can make from industrial hemp, including there's a legal amount of THCA that we can get from the flower. Okay, no matter what, even if we made it synthetically, so to speak, from industrial hemp, as they're calling like D8 is a synthetic cannabinoid. Well, D8 is natural, but we can make it in high doses by using some science, okay? But it still came from industrial hemp, just like the Delta 9 products that we sell now, because we have these on the shelves, and it is 100% legal, okay? Ohio follows the federal controlled substance list. Industrial hemp is not on the federal controlled substance list. Neither is any of its byproducts or anything that we can manufacture and make from industrial hemp. So once again, if the source is industrial hemp, the product is 100% legal in the state of Ohio. Now, there are states that are making D8 illegal or adding age limits to that. Now, we're probably going to see that with D9 soon because of all the D9 legal industrial hemp D9 that's hitting the shelves. And so, they're still stuck on D8 and don't even realize that we're on D9, a big one. And so, I have not heard anything about anybody wanting to do anything with that in Ohio. I don't believe they want to touch those laws right now. That could change soon enough as some politician, gets a hair, finds out that they're selling D9 at the convenience store that their kid goes to. then they may have an issue with it, but they would have to change the laws. So all industrial hemp products are legal in the state of Ohio, no matter what they are. So there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching the High Noon Hemp Show this week. I am Beach. I will be back next week. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See you all next week.